All right, everybody. Again, we would like to just welcome everybody to our Vision Dinner. We're so glad you're here, and we'll now start to begin our program for the night.
Yeah, so here tonight we have our full FSU staff team, along with some of our students who are just so sweet to be here and talk and share just about the goodness that we've seen this past year and the hope that we'll see this next year as well.
That's right. Tonight we'll hear a few student testimonies. We'll also get to hear from a student panel. We'll hear about what's going on in Belfast, Northern Ireland, as well as in Greek life chapters around Florida State. And we'll wrap it all up with a time of financial giving.
So without further ado, we're going to welcome up one of our FSU team leads, Hannah Piper.
Thanks, Helena and Eli. And thank you guys all for being here tonight. We're super excited to have each of you. As Helena and Eli said, I'm a team leader here at Florida State University alongside Rick Kingsley. I've been doing this position just for about 2 years now, but I was counting in the car. As I was practicing this, I kept saying, I've been on staff for 7 years, but really it's 8 years because I've been on staff for almost 8 years now, which feels crazy. It means I've been in Tallahassee for over 10 years now, and I've just never seen a year quite like this one as a student or as a staff on campus. You may have noticed some of the pamphlets that are on your table. One of them talks about your impact at FSU Cru. And one of the things, I would encourage you just to look through that whole pamphlet, or all of them. But one of the things that I'm continually astounded by this semester specifically is that 9 people have prayed to receive Christ this semester, which is a huge number for our campus. Yes, we can clap for that. That's very exciting. I have been on staff or on student leadership and not seen anyone pray to receive Christ all year, and not for lack of effort or faithfulness from our staff members or our students, but the Lord has just really chosen to move and work this semester. I was reading in 2 Timothy yesterday, and this line stuck out to me that says, even when we are unfaithful, he is faithful, for he cannot deny who he is. And I feel like we have seen that over and over again this year and this semester, that God is faithful to his promises and he answers prayers. And so a refrain you'll probably hear repeated tonight is that the Lord has answered our prayers. We have prayed for students who would be eager to share the gospel, and we're experiencing that. We have prayed for people to come to know Christ, not just slowly over time, even though we want that, but even in our initiative evangelism conversations, would that happen? And we're seeing that happen. So we're really excited to share with all of you tonight. I'm going to invite 4 students up who will probably do a better job of telling their stories than I will. And so, where are you guys? Mason, Kaylani, Ella, and Christian. You can come up on stage now. Yes. You guys can sit. I'm probably going to stand because I'm at the stage in pregnancy where if I sit, I kind of get out of breath. So that's why I'll be standing. But you guys feel free to sit. That's great. Can you guys just go down the line and introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name's Kaylani, and I'm a first year.
Hi, my name is Ella. I'm also a first year.
Hi, my name is Christian. I'm also a first year.
Hi, my name is Mason, and I'm a sophomore.
Great job, Mason. So something that we're super excited about this year is that we have a lot of young students in our movement. We have a lot of really wonderful upperclassmen involved, but we're seeing a lot of freshmen and sophomores get involved quickly and not just kind of hang around and say like, oh, what can you do for me? But say like, I want to do something and be a part of this ministry. I want to be not just a consumer, but a contributor. And so we're going to hear a little bit about how they've learned and grown through FSU Cru. So Mason, why don't you kick us off and tell us about your evangelism experience?
Of course, yeah. I'm going to be speaking about evangelism. My evangelism journey started last year as a freshman. It was my first time going on an evangelism time, and I was just so nervous. I was very nervous to approach someone and share my faith, but I had many leaders like Carson and Helena to walk with me through it and like be an example of how to share your faith as a student. This past year, I've grown quite a lot in it. The last semester, I was going really regularly, and I really developed just like a fervor for reaching the students at FSU. Like, I just really wanted to share my faith. I really enjoyed talking to people and getting to see like their perspective on faith and what they're going through and like what they're walking through. So it just really encouraged me just to exercise that part of my faith. It also encouraged me to apply for Belfast this semester. So I'm going to be going to Belfast, Northern Ireland soon in May. I'm currently support raising for that. And I'm not sure if you guys heard, but Belfast is a very evangelism-centered summer mission. So that's why I chose that in specific. I feel like God was really leading me towards evangelism as well. As for this semester, my schedule doesn't really work well for the evangelism times. So I got together with one of my friends, Tomas, and we started an evangelism time to make it more accessible for people around Cru and on campus. So we've been sharing every once in a while. We also share after Bible study, and I feel like we just have seen such like a change in heart for students around campus and in Cru specifically, just to share and evangelize for their faith. So that's what my journey has been and looked like this recently. And yeah, that's it.
Thanks for sharing, Mason. I was actually at Cru one night when Mason and Tomas, one of our other students, came up to me and kind of like nervously were like, could we maybe start another evangelism time? Like the ones that we have on the schedule don't work for us. And I would like had to stop myself from being like, duh, like of course. We pray for students who would say, yeah, we want to share our faith. So thanks for being so faithful. Christian, why don't you share about your experience with Bible study?
Okay, so I'm a new Christian, so I wanted to go to FSU and just be involved with a good Christian community. So I bounced around from different Christian ministries, but I ended up sticking with Cru because just how genuine the people are there. When I talk to people there, like they're generally like interested in like who I am and my spiritual path. I just feel like everyone at Cru wants me to succeed, and that they're all like mentors in my opinion. So I joined a Bible study. Mason actually leads the Bible study that I'm in, but it has just allowed me just to be in such a good community where everyone's on the same path in life, and has allowed me just to ask questions and like really help me spiritually. It's led me to just talk about spiritual things, that because I'm not from a spiritual background. So it just gave me an open place to ask questions and really just strengthen my faith to become a better Christian.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. Okay, Ella is going to share a little bit about something that, or one of our conferences that we do called Winter Conference. So it's an annual conference that we do where all the schools in Florida get together. And she's going to share about her experience with that. So take it away, Ella.
Okay, so Winter Conference is an event where all like the Florida crews come together, and there's like worship and evangelism and messages. But the experience that stuck with me the most was when we went evangelizing in local areas. The group that I was with, we went to a local park, and I remember that it was raining and it was windy and it was cold, and they gave us like the option of like, we can call it a day and go inside, or like we can try and walk around and see if there's anyone that we can talk to. And I remember being like, let's just call it a day. It is cold. We are getting rained on. This is miserable. But everybody was like, no, let's walk around. And I am so glad that we didn't, because we had the opportunity to walk around and meet people and talk with people and share just the love of Jesus and the gospel. I was paired with Brett and with Jesse, and some of the conversations that we got to have with people were absolutely incredible. We even had one guy come to receive Christ out there in the park. Me and Jesse talked to him for like an hour about Jesus, and just the way that God was able to move in our lives through us to help and touch these other people's lives was just an absolutely amazing experience.
Thanks for sharing, Ella. I know, I've I've been on staff for 8 years now, and I still sometimes feel like that whenever we go out sharing and the conditions aren't right. If there's a barrier, sometimes I'm like, maybe I'll just stop and not do it. But I think the Lord really honors us whenever we're faithful, and whenever we listen to His call in our lives, even when it's hard. So thanks for doing that. All right, last but certainly not least is Kaylani. She's going to share about a new thing that we've been doing this year called discipleship groups.
So I joined discipleship last semester with Audrey and Ashley, and I would say that, like, if I can use like one word to describe discipleship, it was very fruitful, and not only for me, but for the other two girls that were in it. And so basically what we do is like we met up once a week for 3 months, and we read our Bible. We were going over a whole bunch of topics that even like I was a Christian for 2 years, like coming into college, and I had learned so much through Audrey and Ashley, and obviously God was using them. And not only that, I feel like we learned so much about each other, and being in a group where you can be intimate and you can talk about the Lord, I enjoyed it so much, and it helped me grow in like many ways that like I never thought that I could. And coming here and finding that Christian-based community has helped me so much. And even like in my life and like academically, like everything in my life has been because of like Jesus. And so going through discipleship, it was the best thing. And I actually decided to continue. And so I do one-on-one discipleship with Ashley this semester. And wow, God has really worked in my life, because I tried setting a schedule for myself, even though I hate schedules. And I'm working on it, and it's progress. And I really love being discipled. I feel like it's very necessary as a Christian, because it's someone who keeps you accountable, reminds you to even do the basic things that we might not even remember to do. And so, yeah, I just love it.
Thank you so much, Kaylani. Thank you guys so much for sharing about your experience. Discipleship groups are something that we're kind of like a last-minute add-in to our schedule. Typically, whenever we try like some sort of new programming or something like that, it is talked about the semester before. But this was August, and we're getting ready to launch in less than a week, and one of our interns, Eli, was like, what if we just offered discipleship as soon as we started the semester? And we were like, okay, we have a week to throw this together. How do we come up with a 6-week discipleship curriculum? How do we pair people into groups? But we were like, well, this is such a good idea. Let's do it. And I think it's on your page there, but like 37 students went through that curriculum, and many of them have not just done that short, like 6 to 8 week discipleship group, but have continued on in discipleship. And now many of them are even are training on how to disciple other people. And so they're not just taking what they learned and hanging on to it, even though that's really great, but they're multiplying it and sharing it with others. So we're super excited about that. Thank you guys. You're really, really great. We appreciate all that you do. Great job. That's good. So those are some of the things that go on throughout our week. So we have 3 evangelism times throughout the week. We have a lot of different small groups and Bible studies that meet throughout the week. Our discipleship groups meet weekly. And then conferences and events. We have on a lot of weekends, not every weekend, but we do typically have some community building things. So that's some things that we do that are kind of more outward focused. But we also wanted to share about what the Lord is doing within the community of Cru and how He has answered prayers there as well. And so you can turn your attention to the screen, and we're going to have a short video about that.
When I was out for Cru, I've gotten to see just like so many different stages of the Lord through so many people. Whether that was like through support raising, or it was through like my disciples. And I think that's like one of the biggest ways I have seen the Lord and like grown my personal relationship with Him. Just getting to rely on Him like every single section. Like waking up and being like, okay, like I don't know what lies before me on this day. Like whether it's like a super super hard conversation with someone during evangelism, or it's my disciple telling me like something that's going on in their life, or also like getting to rejoice with them and just like the people of community and crew, of just like these sweet moments. It's like shown me so much of the Lord too in just those.
When I came here last year, I didn't really know anybody in Cru, but the first night that I came here, I really just feel like I developed just like such a sense of community. What brought me back every week. It's what caused me to join a Bible study. It's what caused me to join evangelism, and even live with a house with a couple of guys.
Looking up and seeing everyone just lifting their hands in praise. It just really shows me why I'm up there, and the purpose of worship is to praise our Lord. And just looking out and seeing all of my peers just looking so full of the Spirit is just so amazing to me.
My favorite thing about Cru is definitely the people in it. Like I feel like the people in it were the main like contributor to me wanting to join leadership and want to stick around because all of my friends are in it, and everyone in Cru is just like they're great people, and so I want to be a part of it.
It's definitely produced more of like a perseverance within me. I want to strive to be more like this person. I want to strive to be more like the other person. And it's really created like a drive for me to be more Christ-like because they're embodying Christ.
I think the biggest thing that I love the most dearly is the community and just the family that I have here. I think they've just seen me through all stages of life, and for them to just like be consistent through it all and to challenge me in ways and to know me deeper than any other people know me is so kind and sweet. There's so many things I want to tell Cru, and oh my god, yeah, I get stuck crying.
I don't really think of Cru like a club. Like I don't think of Cru as like Thursday nights. Like Cru is like my friends. Cru is like just like my people. I don't really see it as like a club, but it's just like a little community that I get to be a part of. It's great. Period.
One of our very talented Cru students actually made that video, Caleb, who's here tonight. So give a round of applause for Caleb. Thanks for doing that. He did a great job with it. I love how Tomas ends that video, that he doesn't think of Cru just as a club, but it's a community. And we want to be a caring community, passionate about connecting people to Jesus Christ. But we also want to be more than just a holy huddle Christian circle. We want to move out towards the campus. So Tomas wasn't able to be here tonight because he has class and he was being a responsible student, and so he decided not to skip to come. But I did ask him to send me just a sentence about why he's excited to serve on Cru leadership next year. And he said, "I'm excited about Cru leadership because I want to be a part of and serve the community that has poured so much into my life. I want to be a part of the advancement of the kingdom of God, and I find it very encouraging to see that the people in Cru are just as, if not more, passionate about it as I am. Everyone in Cru is so on fire for the Lord, and it inspires me to see the Lord even more and grow stronger in my faith so we can be stronger as a collective." So I love that we have students who are passionate about reaching other people for Christ. We are seeing this generation reaching this generation in ways that I've just never experienced on campus before. We're seeing spiritual interest in ways that I've never experienced before. Just yesterday, Aiden and Eli were out sharing and talked to a guy who they sat down with him, and Aiden said the guy was like, "I've got 10 minutes. And then they talked to him for like an hour and a half. Because he had grown up around different religions, but didn't really start hearing about Christianity until college. And they talked about it with him for a long time, and they shared the gospel with him a couple times, and they explained what it meant to have faith. And he was like, "Oh, and God just like gives that to anyone who wants it?" And they were like, "Yeah, that's how easy it is. Anybody who wants this can have it if they have faith in Jesus." And they asked him, "Do you believe that?" And he said, "I don't know if I believed that before this conversation, but I think I might now." And so they don't really know where he's at. They're going to follow up with him. They got his number, so you can be praying for Nicholas. Pray that he gets back to them and they can meet with him. But the campus is full of students like that right now. who are open to hearing the gospel. And Cru right now is full of students who are excited to share it. And so most of you should have a student at your table. And they're just going to share a little bit about why they're excited to share their faith, or why they're excited to serve on Cru next semester. I think one of you might have to squeeze to make room for one student to join your table, but the rest of the table should already have a student there. So they'll spend a couple minutes just sharing with you about their vision for next year. Okay, so sorry to interrupt your student sharing. Our group of students this year is really incredible. We love every group of students that comes through Cru, but I think we have just a particularly special group right now in the past couple of years. And so I would encourage you, continue getting some time with them after we wrap up. You'll probably have a little bit more mingling time. And so just finish your conversation then. They're really wonderful, and I would love for you to get to know them more too. We now are going to hear about some stuff going on a little further from home. So we at FSU have a partnership with Queen's University in Belfast, Northern Ireland. And for 3 years, we had a staff member named Sam Tiffany who is serving here with us, and she's here with us tonight. She's really great. We love her a lot. She, this past year, however, has not been with us. She went to Belfast to serve with the team at Queen's. And so she's going to share about how the Lord has been answering prayers over there as well. So she's going to come up to the stage. And yeah, I'm really excited for you guys to hear. I actually got to meet with a student. I'm sorry if I'm stealing part of what you're going to say. Aiden and I were in Belfast this summer. And on our first day there doing evangelism, I met a student named Aoife. And she seemed interested in following up with us. We shared the gospel with her, and she was like, "This seems really great. I'm kind of familiar, but not really." And so we tried to follow up with her a couple times and could just never nail her down. And it was our last day, our second to last day in Belfast, and she messaged me and my friend who met her, and she was like, "Hey, I would really love to see you guys before you go." And so we got brunch the next morning. And I told her that Sam was going to be moving there soon, and I was like, "I would love to get you connected. I don't know if you're interested in continuing to read the Bible or anything, but I'd love for you to meet Sam, and I'm sure Sam would love a friend in the city too." And they got connected, so I'll let you tell more about that now.
Yeah, so as Hannah said, I do not live here in Tallahassee. I arrived in the state of Florida about 4 days ago. So I'm happy to be here. It's so exciting to see so many familiar faces and also faces that I don't recognize. And yeah, so like Hannah said, about 6 months ago, I hopped on a plane and moved over to Belfast. This was not an easy decision for me at the time, but after a lot of prayer, God directly answered my prayer and led me to Belfast. And it has been a very fruitful couple of months. So I'll just share a few things. This step of obedience was an answer to prayer for our team here, as we really deeply desired to send a staff stinter, which is exactly what I am doing. Who knew it would be in Belfast? I did not. And another answer to prayer is for the team there. One of the questions that I asked the local team when I first showed up was, what need would I be filling by being here? And the first thing that they said was it would be an encouragement to our local staff who've been burdening here or laboring here and are feeling just the weight of a slow and hard ministry. And I said, okay, great, I'll come. Sounds awesome to me. And it has been so great. And we've been seeing so much of our ministry multiply, including our team. So hopefully this fall we'll be having way more interns than we had expected. And so you can pray for them as we head into this next chapter for our team over in Belfast. And another answer to prayer, I'll just share a little bit more about Aoife's story. So I met with Aoife in December for the very first time. We finally connected after months of trying to plan a time to meet. And Aoife and I sat down and we talked about the Holy Spirit. And she was like, oh, so that's how I can understand God's word. And I said, yes, if you ask God to help you, he will help you understand his word. And didn't see her again for a couple of weeks. And then we reconnected in February, where she had come to faith in Christ over the course of those 2 months. And we are now going to be starting a Bible study with her and another student who also comes from the same kind of Catholic background and a miraculous, out of nowhere interest in Christ. And her name is Alicia. And so the two of them, they are both PhD students, 25 years old, who are just now learning about Christ for the first time. And we're going to start our Bible study next week. And so the things that our students do on summer mission really do matter. Aoife was connected with a couple of students here and staff here, and now halfway across the world, she's coming to know Jesus in a whole new way. So, and all of those things are really awesome praises and answers to prayer, but that decision to go definitely wasn't an easy one for me. If you know anything about me, I labored in and prayed for the Greek ministry here at FSU. It was something that I cared deeply about, and I left for Belfast with a lot of unanswered prayers. However, we serve a very faithful God. And so I'm excited to invite Chelsea up, and she's going to share a little bit more about the ways that we have seen God move in the Greek system, in the ways that he's answered some of those prayers.
Hey guys, my name is Chelsea, and I'm so excited that Sam and I get to talk about some of the ways that God has answered significant prayers in Greek life. And when we say Greek life, we mean fraternities and sororities at FSU. If you're aware, Greek life is extremely prevalent at FSU. It's the heart of the Southern Bible Belt. People love to rush in the Florida heat, and they love to rank what house they're going to get into and then figure out what one they get into, and it's a lot of fun. I was actually never in a sorority in college, but I think I would have just loved it. I feel very Greek adjacent, so I get so excited that I get to talk to all the Greek girls now and like gush over like what outfits they're gonna wear and like what socials they have coming up. But we want to talk about ways that we've seen God answer our prayers in significant ways. So Sam's going to tell us kind of what Greek life looked like before she left, and I'll give you guys an update on what God's doing now.
Yeah, so I was Greek, and I was one of those students who came to Christ in the Greek system at a different university a little bit farther away. But I caught the vision for ministry in my house. I was living with girls that didn't know Jesus, and I caught the bug. I wanted them to know who Jesus was. And so that was one of my biggest prayer requests here, was that there would be one student and who would catch that vision. And I prayed, I walked around campus, and I prayed, and I just had that phrase in my head, just one. So I'd love to hear how God answered that prayer.
God answered this prayer by a girl named Caitlin. Caitlin is in 80 Pi. This story starts in November of 2025. She DM'd the UF, the university that Sam went to. She DM'd that Instagram. They have a Cru Greek ministry, and she DM'd them and said, hey, my name's Caitlin. I'm in an 80 Pi at FSU. Do you have an organization like this? So in November 15th, I got a text from Chris on staff at UF, and he said, hey, I think you're the one I'm supposed to be contacting. Up until this point, I said that I would be willing and would love to work with Greek students, but from August to November, I knew no Greek students. I felt like I had no in to Greek life, and I prayed something that I thought was kind of bratty. Someone said it was bold, so we're going to go with bold. But I asked God, if you want me to serve in Greek life, Lord, I would love for you to serve it to me on a silver platter. prayer. And our God is a very kind God, and he did that. And I met with Caitlin at a coffee shop on campus, and she said, Chelsea, I want everyone in my sorority to know who God is. And she's like, I'm desperate to be discipled. So I was telling her about Cru and what the vision of doulos was, and she's like, I want in. How do we start this up? And she's like, and I want you to meet my best friend, Mia. And I want you to know that God is doing some crazy things in Greek life. And it was such an encouragement to me because we've been praying for years. I remember Sam and I led a Greek Bible study, I think fall of 2022, and we had maybe 3 girls consistently come. So Caitlin was a huge answer to prayer, and she is like a force to be reckoned with. We do discipleship now, and she's telling me she has like a long list of names of girls that she's praying for in her chapter to come to know God.
Incredible. Another thing that I prayed for was something that I had experienced and that was really helpful in my walk with the Lord, was having a community around me as I figured out what did it look like to follow Christ in the Greek system. Because it's hard and it's scary. And a lot of the girls that I had met over the last couple of years wouldn't stay in the Greek system at FSU for very long. They would start walking with God and then they would immediately leave their chapters. And that left a big gap in the mission field on campus. And so that was one of the prayer requests that I had, was that there would be a community of believers, of fraternity and sorority students that would be hearing about God inside of a Greek house. That's where I heard the gospel, and that's where it became real to me, and that's what I desired for the students here.
You guys, guess again, God answered that prayer in really, really awesome, big ways. So like I said, the story starts in November. The girls are like, we need to relaunch doulos by January. And I'm like, okay, guys, we have Thanksgiving break and we have winter break, and then you want to go ahead and start this? And after our second meeting, Caitlin sent from her iPad like a list of to-dos for Eli and I to do rather than like us sending them to-do lists. They were so on fire. But we launched for the first time in 2026 on the AD lawn, and we had over 130 students in Greek life come hear the gospel. We had 16 students rededicate their life to Christ, and 2 students said yes to Jesus for the first time. What's also really exciting is our doulos. Yes, guys, amazing. Let's clap for that. Yes. But what we also saw was not just God working outside of the front lawn of AD and sororities, but also God is doing big things in Greek houses. So we had our next doulos meeting, our February meeting, on the, not lawn, because they're not glorious mansions, more like turf in the backyard of a frat house. We had it on a Sunday evening, so there were still some solo cups around, but the guys that we met that were setting up were so kind. They were like, whatever you want to have your meeting be, we are here. So we had the full gospel shared on a microphone in the back of Greek row on a microphone. We had discussion groups, and it was so awesome. We were packing up, and we had a few of the Greek guys come up to us and say, this was awesome. Anytime that you guys want to host a doulos event at our house, we want this here. Our house is available, and we want this to happen. And what's really exciting and significant is that these doulos meetings were rotating between fraternities and sorority houses. I've had girls over coffee beg me to have our next Bible study or our next meeting there, because they know that if we go to their house, their sorority sisters, their fraternity brothers will be there, because just it's close access. They don't have to leave. So we're seeing these groups multiply before our eyes.
Insane that I couldn't be here to see all of this, but I'm so glad it's happening. This is literally so crazy to hear all of these things. I'm hearing this for the first time, so bear with me. Another one of my prayer requests was that all 17 sororities would have at least one person walking with the Lord. It was one of my goals to walk into every single one of the sorority houses and try to meet a student who would want to follow God. And I think at the time I had only access to about 11 of the 17 different sororities. I'd love to hear more.
This one also makes me cry. But at this point, out of 17 houses, we have at least 15 of them have record of women who are faithfully walking with Jesus in their houses, who are not just like, yeah, I love Jesus, but I'm going to go pray to him in my room alone, but students, girls who are on fire for the Lord, who want to share him with others and know that sharing the gospel in their sorority houses, they have like 80 roommates. Like, they are at a really significant time in their lives where they have such access to non-believers that we are seeing the gospel go forth in almost every single sorority on FSU's campus.
Praise God. The last prayer request that I had was that students would go to Greek Summit. Greek Summit is a 2.5-week summer mission where Greek students from all over the country get trained basically to do ministry in their houses. They come to know about Jesus, and then they spend time learning about what does it look like for me to practically follow God in my Greek house? How do I pray for my sorority sisters and fraternity brothers? How do I share the gospel with them? And last year, I brought one student named Lauren. She actually wasn't even a student. She had just graduated, so we made an exception for her, and I brought her along because her heart was really excited to see God move in Greek life. And that was the first student since the first year that I was here in Tallahassee, where we had students from FSU at Greek Summit.
I'm going to Greek Summit, which is exciting. But again, way back in November, I was on a call talking to someone on staff that would help place me. Where would I go this summer? And I said, I'll go to Greek Summit. And in a very kind way, she was like, Chelsea, that's for staff that are currently working with Greek students. And I was like, I know I only know the name of maybe one Greek girl, but in faith, I want to go to Greek Summit. And I'm bringing along FSU students this year by God's grace. Just this morning, I had a student, a freshman, text me and say, do you think it would be okay if I asked my internship if I could have 2 weeks off to come to Greek Summit? And I was like, I think you should totally do that, and I think they would totally be okay with it. And she was like, do you think it would be okay even if I had to arrive a day late or 2 days late? And I was like, yes, we would love to have you. One of the freshmen, Claudia, that has been begging me to have our Greek Bible study at her house, she's signed up, she's got accepted, and she was like, Chelsea, I think I know a few girls that you could talk to that would maybe be interested in coming along too. So we're not just seeing one student say yes, we're seeing the impact of their yes trickle down to other students. And these are still 2 freshmen right now. So to think about the gospel impact that they could have in 2 different sorority houses, one where there's not currently a Bible study happening, just like gives me chills to think about what could the next 4 years look like in Zeta, because Claudia said yes her freshman year to come to Greek Summit. So thank you guys for listening and being excited with us about all that God's doing at FSU, in Belfast, and in Greek life. We would love your continued prayers for what God's doing. Again, so many things were happening before there was even a staff present in Greek life. So we know that God's moving, and we're just excited that we get to have a front row seat at what he's doing. And this is really the year tenfold that we've prayed for.
This would be helpful. Yeah, one of the refrains our staff team has had throughout the last month or so is, this is the year we prayed for. I don't know what news source you get your news from, but I think a lot of times when you see college students, or they talk about the college campus, or they talk about young people on the news, it's often about how it's probably not very flattering. It's probably not very positive. And I spend a lot of time for somebody who looks like me and is my age with college students. And I want to tell you that the next generation of the church is in good hands. I'm really excited about what God's going to do, even if I don't get to see it. Our team, we look forward to this night every year. We don't usually play music. We're not going to make use of this drum set. There will be no singing, but this is a worship night. This is a night of praise and worship because we get to celebrate what God's doing at Florida State. And it's really crazy. I mean, it just feels like a year when like the snowball is already going down the mountain. We're not trying to like make it at the top and like just hope, I hope it starts rolling. There's just so many different things that we're seeing on campus and across the world with Sam. Sam may not sit on our staff in our staff meeting anymore, but she's on our team. And we love her and we sent her and we're excited about it. Oftentimes, one of my favorite, a campus director who used to be on staff with Cru, he used to say, take my best people. It will just force me to raise up other people. Or we just get to see what God does in those gaps. And so what you just heard right here with Sam and Chelsea is like God stepping into the gap and just saying, watch this. Sam is incredibly talented in a lot of different ways, and she's really awesome, and she labored in the Greek community for a long time. Sam, when did you used to do the Greek prayer time where we would gather and you? 2022. So every week, her and a couple other people who were working with Greek students, and then a couple of Greek students, and then she would like demand that like at least one person from our staff team would go with her, and we would faithfully go with her. We would faithfully go with her pretty often. But we would just sit there and we would pray, God, work in the Greek community. Do something. And so I want to tell you, I'm on the college campus, I'm seeing what God is doing, and God is on the move, and God is in control, and I'm excited about what he's doing. Usually when we have these nights, the people we have up here are seniors and juniors, and we were pretty intentional. I was excited. I wanted our freshman and sophomore, shout out Mason, to get up here and share about like what's going on. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rick Kingsley. Hannah and I are the team leaders for FSU Cru. For those of you who don't know me, for those of you who do know me, yes, I do own a suit coat and a tie. If you see me in a suit coat or a tie, it's either a wedding, a funeral, or it's the Cru Vision Dinner. Perk of the job, or if you like to dress up, not perk of the job. But my wife Christina and I, we moved here 11 years ago I also went to the university that Sam went to that I shall not say out loud. And in my time at the University of Florida, my time at the University of Florida, I caught the vision. I caught the vision for like, okay, this is what God. Working with college students. I went to college and I was just like, I wanted to get a good job. I wanted to make good money. I wanted to live the good life. And midway through my sophomore year, God was like, I went to a winter conference, like Ella was talking about, and the theme verse was from Matthew 6, and it was, store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And I realized that the treasure that I was seeking was financial. Not that money is bad in and of itself, but the trajectory that my life was on was to go after that and pursue that. And I just realized it'll never deliver the way that I hope it will. And so I just said, all right, God, I think you're calling me into college ministry. If you want me to do something else, let me know. That was 25 years ago, and here I am, and I'm still waiting for him to tell me to do something else. But I love what I do. We love what we do. Every day I get to see students make decisions that will, or process decisions, learn, do things that will have ripple effects for the rest of their lives. These 4 years have this outsized, your first couple years out of the house, or your first couple years as an adult, whether you go to college, or whether you went to college or not, they just have this like major impact on the rest of your life. And so to see God get a hold of these students it's just really, really cool. It's pretty addicting, and it's pretty fun. Some of y'all were in our movement. I mean, I know a lot of faces in this room. Some of you I don't know, and I'm so glad you're here. And some of you, the faces I recognize, I'm also glad you're here. I see faces of people who were involved in our movement as students and aren't anymore, or people who their time in our movement was before I was here. I see people from my church, friends of mine. I love my staff team and our students. I feel like I get to co-labor with and lead my friends, and oftentimes my heroes. Getting to see them take steps of faith, it's just really, really fun. Most of you, or a lot of you, if you're in this room, then you're already involved in this movement. If you support Cru staff, or if you've supported, if you've given to our operating budget in the past, what you're seeing up here is the fruits of not just our labor, but your stewardship and your generosity. And so thanks. Tonight, like I said, is a night of praise and worship. We give glory to God. He gets the praise. He gets the credit. It's all him. And we also get to celebrate getting to participate in it. And so whether you are the one going and doing, or you're the one sending and giving, thank you. We really appreciate it. And so one of the things that we do every year during our Vision Dinner is we talk about, okay, this is what God is doing. All of our staff, we raise our own personal support, and so we're here. Our support raising is done independently of this evening. But we also have operating costs that we wanted to invite you into, to be a part of meeting. The things the words that were shared up on stage and at your tables, a lot of those happened because of what the previous Vision Dinners and what has been given at previous Vision Dinners. And I'll talk about that in a second. But I also want to say, I want to give an invitation for you to be a part of it, but also this is an invitation, not an obligation. God's on the move, and he's going to do what he's going to do. And he doesn't need me. He doesn't need any of us to do it. We just get to participate in it. And so if you'd like to, that's great, and we'd love it. And if you already are giving of your time and talents and resources other places, there's a lot of really, really great places around town, around the state, our country, the world, where you can be giving also. And we're all on the same team for the sake of the gospel. So hear me say that. But I do want to talk about, so some of the philosophy. What are our core values? You've heard a lot of it tonight. If you turn over your printed program that has the FSU Cru Vision 2026 Vision Dinner, you'll see on the back kind of our a miniature breakdown, or a very unitemized version of our budget. And I just kind of wanted to talk through that. And we're going to talk through it through the lens of our values of win, build, send, launch. We get those values from the Great Commission. One of the last things that we have recorded, last words of Jesus that we have recorded, Matthew 28. All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations. Go, make all. From those three words, go, make all, we've got four kind of core values: launch, win, build, and send. Go. Launch. We want to go to where the gospel is not. We want to go into the dark places on our campus that may not have the light of the gospel. And so we want to go into places. I can't do any better talking about Greek ministry. than Sam and Chelsea already did, and so I won't. I'm not going to talk about them. But there's other places on campus, other affinity groups that we want to bring the gospel to. We've got staff in this room who work with international students, who have a desperate desire for students who are here studying abroad. Some of them are from closed countries. Some are from countries that we would have a very challenging time getting into. And while they're here, we have this unique opportunity to bring them the gospel, to see them come to faith, hopefully, and to bring that gospel back, to bring Jesus back into a place where we can't go ourselves. And so I'd love to tell you more about it, but I'll bet you Cassidy and Carson would love to tell you about it even more than I would. We want to go to different places, every affinity group, every nook and cranny of the campus, at Florida State, also to FAM, to TSC, to the other campuses that are within driving range of us. Every student in every place on every campus within a reasonable distance, we want to give them a chance to hear and respond to the gospel. And so we'll do whatever we can. And so on the back, we've got launching. We want to we'd love to have $1,000 for a new launch. We would love to give our Greek, our staff who are working with Greek students, an operating budget to do outreaches, to do Bible studies, to pay for pizza, or things that will get people to come to. I mean, Eli, who's one of our staff who's working with college with Greek students, he's like, "Hey, can I get an operating budget? Can I get money for pizza every week?" Shockingly, Greek guys, fraternity brothers, will show up if there's pizza. That's a small price to pay to have an opportunity and an audience with these guys. Some of them will go and take the gospel back to where they're coming from, to their houses. That's launch. When we want to share the gospel with every person. And there's a lot of things that we do. I mean, you've heard the word evangelism a bunch of times up here. We feel called not just for us as staff to go, but for our students to go. We want to put the tools in our students' tool belts so that when they go and they are in a spiritual conversation, they know how to talk about, okay, this is what I believe. We want them to be fluent in their ability to talk about and share their faith, to communicate their faith to others, and do it in such a way that they feel comfortable doing it. Not they're like, oh my gosh, I'm a dog walking on its hind legs. I just feel so uncomfortable and I just need to get out of this as soon as possible. But to talk about it, to be fluent enough to be comfortable that they don't feel the need to hit the panic button or the escape button, that they can be in it and sit and chat and share who Jesus is and why he's changed their lives. We do a lot of things in the evangelism category. We want to give each of our small groups a budget to be able to have outreaches in the dorm areas where their students are or where their people are. We want to do large group outreaches. Every year we spend a lot of money in that first week on campus, our welcome week. This year we made a punch board. Each of those circles is a solo cup with a cupcake, the little cup that a cupcake goes into. What's that? Cupcake liner. Sure, that, yes. I bake, obviously. And so each of those cups has a number in it. And so most of them are number ones. And so, so basically what we did, we told students who were walking by, hey, if you fill out a contact card, you get a chance at the punch board. And then we had over to the side, we had prizes. We had an air fryer and a turntable and a Cotopaxi backpack and Beats headphones. We didn't spend all of our budget on that table. We had smaller budgets. We had succulents and candy bars and cans of soda and a whole bunch of things. And so just hey, if you go by, you get a chance to hit the thing to win a prize. And man, it was It was maybe the most effective contact generating source I've ever seen. And people loved it. It was so much fun. We had a lot of people who came back. It was so much fun. A lot of people filled out the contact card multiple times over multiple days. But it was a really effective way for us to get in contact with people. What we want to do, we will spend money to get an audience with people so that we can bring them Jesus. And so that we spend a lot of money on that. We spend a lot of money on other things. We do Jeremiah's Italian ice. Thank you. I was just going to say Jeremiah's ice. I'm sure his ice is very good too, but his Italian ice is really great. And so we just do a lot of events, a lot of attractional events to get people to come. And so we can get contacts, and so we can meet up with them. Some of those contacts never text us back. And some of those contacts, we will be in their lives for the rest of ours. And so let me jump to build. Well, I'm not going to go through all of these. I just want to give you an idea of like, okay, what are we doing? The big thing here is a lot of what our money from build, we want to develop Christ-like laborers. We want to build them up in their faith so that they know how to walk with God for a lifetime, so that they can be self-feeders. And so you probably know that it's getting more and more expensive to do the things that we used to do. Everything it feels like it's costing just a little bit more. And so the prices for our retreats are raising. And so what we want to do, one of our values is we don't ever want money to be a reason why somebody doesn't come to one of our retreats. And so what we are generally pretty, first of all, we subsidize our fall getaway to keep the price affordable for your average student. We also say, if you can't pay that subsidized price, then come and ask us for a scholarship, because we want you to be there. I will do whatever I can for you to be there. Again, I will spend money to give people an audience with Jesus. And so we want to have a large scholarship budget to get people to come to our fall getaway or to our winter conference. A lot of our students, it's really neat seeing students come to winter conference, and it's the first time they've ever shared their faith. Every year at our leadership retreat is another thing that we'll cater that. We have supplies for discipleship material and stuff like that. Every year at leadership retreat, I like to ask, okay, how many people your first time sharing your faith was in Cru? And you see a bunch of hands go up. And I'll ask about different events, and you'll just kind of hear the things, the first time people share their faith. And Cru, we've said that word, Cru, a lot tonight. Cru is not the end-all, be-all. It is merely an avenue through which God chooses to move. Our faith isn't in Cru. Our faith isn't in our events. And our faith isn't in like our resources or our ingenuity. Our faith is in Jesus. But it's really fun to get to see people take steps of faith for the first time, sharing their faith for the first time, going overseas for the first time, discipling another person. With Build, we want to disciple our students so that they can walk with the Lord for a lifetime, but also we want to disciple them in such a way that they can disciple others. So we can be like what Paul challenges us to be in 2 Timothy 2:2. What I have given to you, Timothy, and trust to other men who will be faithful to teach others. One little verse, and you have 4 generations in discipleship. You have Paul, Timothy, faithful men, and others. And so we want to teach people how to communicate their faith in such a way that they can communicate and teach others to walk with the Lord. And so that can keep going. Send. We would love for Sam and the Belfast team to have an operating budget of their own. They don't have, and so every year, we want to give them resources to be able to go. We also, for students that want to go overseas, I would love for us to be their first $100. To say that not only have we not only do we love you and we believe in you and we are excited about you, but we want to be a part of sending you. And so that is a vision for us as well. So launch, win, build, send. Those are our values. Finally, and this isn't as visionary as like launch or win or build or send, but we have some administrative costs. We need to, we've got a storage unit that we've got to cover. We've got team ministry resources that we'll cover. We've got different things throughout the year that we will have to pay for. And it's just not as much fun to talk about as like seeing people share their faith for the first time. So all told, our budget for next year, our ideal budget is $31,500. We, like I said before, a lot of you in this room, well, I would imagine all of you have been walking with the Lord for a long time, or for a while, or for a period of time, and you've got plenty of great avenues to give of your time and your talents and your resources. And so I would ask for you to consider us, this operating budget, these students, everything that we talked about, like I said, is paid for out of this operating budget, or at least subsidized, at least paid for in part. And so I want to invite you to consider being a part of that. On your tables, there are packets, manila folders in the middle. If I could just have either the staff people or somebody at your table grab the packet and pass out what's inside. You'll find the necessary items if you would like to be a part of, or if you'd like to respond. You'll find the necessary items to be able to do so. On the back side of the envelope, you'll see an area to note your contribution, your contact information. We would love for you to be informed about what God is doing throughout the year. And so we'd love a good email address so that we can keep in touch with you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to get out. I'm sure you're tired of hearing me talk. But again, this is a night every year I look forward to, because I'm excited about telling people about what God is doing. And at Florida State, I hope you know, God is doing a lot. Not just through us, but through all of the ministries on campus. God is on the move. So I'll let you consider how you might respond. And Eli and Helena will be up in a minute to close us out. Thank you.
All right, you guys, please feel free to take your time. But once you guys are done filling those out, you can put those envelopes into the orange packet and then put the packet in the middle. That being said, to-go envelopes are available at the welcome table should you need to finish making your decision at home or at a later time.
And we just want to thank you all so much for being here, just getting to see the beauty of what God has done over this past year and looking forward to the future of what he's going to. We just want to thank you all for how you're moving in the Lord's kingdom, like here on earth through Cru or whatever that may be. And we just want to thank you for being here with us and getting to rejoice with it. So I hope you guys all have such a wonderful night and have a great and safe way of getting home. And as always, go Knowles.